My dad consistently preferred my elder brother, yet I remained quiet for many years. When he handed over the family enterprise to him and said, "Leave if it doesn't suit you," I departed silently, abandoning it all. A few weeks passed, and he was phoning me, voice breaking, as my brother allowed everything to crumble. "Hello, Reddit, using a throwaway account for clear reasons. I'm Zara, 28F, and this tale has been developing throughout much of my existence. My father always showed clear preference for my older sibling, Aaron, 32M. It was obvious to all. Everybody was aware. However, I kept my silence. I constantly believed that if I simply put in more effort, demonstrated my value, continued to appear reliably, perhaps I would become sufficient. I never was. Our household operates a medium-scale transportation firm. My grandpa founded it. My father elevated it significantly. And since I was very young, I was involved, sorting documents, attending employee gatherings, even observing our bookkeeper during my school days. When I reached 24, I was employed full-time as the operations director, handling over 60-hour weeks, and had optimized many of our core processes. Aaron was viewed as the innovative thinker, even though he didn't complete university, arrived tardy often, and shifted positions without staying longer than half a year in any. He would interrupt sessions, offer grand commitments, vanish for several days, and father would still beam as if he were exceptional. I lost track of how frequently Dad remarked, "Aaron possesses natural commanding qualities. You're more suited to supportive roles." Okay. I remained in supportive roles. I increased income twofold within 2 years. I cut expenses by 40%. I secured our largest cargo agreement ever, and I never sought praise. Then arrived the breaking point. 3 months back, Dad organized a family meal. I assumed he was at last going to reveal his handover strategy, perhaps propose a joint leadership arrangement. Perhaps, finally, he recognized my contributions. No. He rose at the table's end, grinned, and declared, "Aaron is advancing to CEO. He will assume complete control by the second quarter. Zara, your assistance over recent years is valued, but if this no longer aligns with you, feel free to depart." No discussion, no recognition of my efforts. Not even involvement in the handover. Simply depart if it displeases you. I grinned, agreed, and replied, "Appreciate the straightforwardness." That evening, I emptied my workspace, discreetly cancelled my login privileges, erased my identity from every online platform I had developed. I didn't make scenes, I didn't debate, I didn't provide reasons, I exited without speaking. What followed? Well, issues began deteriorating quickly. During the initial week post-departure, no one contacted me. Not father, not Aaron, not the workplace, nobody. I figured they had proceeded without me. That matched the intention, correct? Thus, I moved forward as well. I traveled to Austin for an advisory conference, linked again with former guides, and began planning concepts for my personal transportation efficiency venture. No conflict, no resentment, only clear perspective and liberation. However, precisely 21 days following my exit, the initial phone rang. It came from Mia, a key customer. "Zara, hi, apologies for using your private number, but are things all right? I've sent emails to the company multiple times regarding our delivery adjustments, with 0 responses. Aaron insisted the updated rates are set, yet they're 30% above our agreement. What's happening?" I was surprised. "I stopped working there weeks ago." She hesitated. Oh, that explained a lot. The following days brought disorder. My email overflowed with notes from previous associates and suppliers. Has the change impacted billing timelines? Aaron isn't answering calls. He committed to tailored reports by Monday, but claims it's low priority now. Who authorized dismissing our coordinators without backups? Then a LinkedIn alert appeared. Aaron had changed his position to CEO, Innovative Guide, Advanced Digital Shift in Transportation 2.0. I laughed intensely, almost spilling my drink. At the same time, my father was growing anxious. On day 23, he phoned. No greeting like, "How are you?" No regret, straight to, "Zara, what on earth did you alter in the payment setups? Automated billing has stopped functioning." Storage workers are considering quitting. And Aaron claims you damaged things since many monitoring panels are faulty. I inhaled deeply. I caused no damage, Dad. You instructed me to leave. I followed. I cancelled my permissions and deleted my details from platforms I had personally financed. I also provided a handover document. Aaron claimed you abandoned us unprepared. I smiled lightly. Was that before or after enforcing a 30% rate increase and dismissing 2 experienced coordinators without substitutes? Quiet on the line. This is the family business, Zara. You're allowing it to fail. No, I responded steadily. You permitted the failure. I created the safeguards. Aaron removed them. By day 28, 2 significant customers departed. One switched to a rival. The other contracted with a specialized agency, the very one I was now discreetly advising. I wasn't seeking vengeance. I wasn't scheming, yet individuals began contacting me for assistance. And different from Aaron, I truly understood the operations. My father still hadn't determined his words to me. It didn't feel like manipulation. That was acceptable since I wasn't finished departing. Not quite. Everything peaked at the quarterly directors' session. Aaron, now the proclaimed CEO, needed to show forecasts, potential new customers, and account for the worrying monetary gaps that emerged since my absence. Unbeknownst to him, I retained a quiet position on the directors' group. Why? 2 years prior, when Grandpa's longtime associate, Mr. Patel, stepped down, he privately passed his small stake, 3.5%, to me. He noted, "You're the sole person who truly grasps this operation deeply. One day you'll require this, not for control, but for safeguard." I kept it secret from everyone, including my father, until this session. Aaron entered the meeting room confidently as usual. Stylish new attire, beverage in grip, trendy terms on his presentation. He began boasting about updating procedures and eliminating unnecessary elements, which evidently involved dismantling the core transportation group I had developed initially. Then the figures arrived, or their absence. For each inquiry from the directors about supplier loss, customer departure, violated service agreements, he replied with ambiguous jargon or deflection. My sibling didn't provide a guide. We are still fixing her setups. Previous employees didn't fit the fresh direction. At that moment, I rose from the rear. He stiffened. In fact, I stated I did provide a guide. It was a 47-page handover document with dates, times, emailed to both your account and father's. I glanced about. Does anyone want a version? Whispers. Several directors agreed. Aaron grew flushed. But since we're gathered, I continued, approaching the display. May we view the supplier loss report? I want to highlight that 2 of our primary 10 customers exited after Aaron applied an unauthorized rate model breaching their agreements. It activated penalty-free termination options. Surprised reactions. Then I revealed the major revelation. Additionally, I said, addressing the chair, I wish to invoke my privilege for an urgent no-confidence ballot against the CEO. My father appeared shocked. You lack that power. Mr. Chin, a senior director, spoke up. Actually, she possesses it. Zara now occupies a director position, transferred from Patel. Absolute silence. I faced Aaron. You desired the innovative role. You desired the position. Now handle the consequences. 8 of 11 directors supported no confidence. Aaron faced immediate suspension. A temporary group was established. I was invited, not forced, invited to guide. I refused courteously. I wouldn't return to fix the chaos they ignored, yet I wasn't fully finished. I didn't aim to destroy, but neither would I reconstruct a place where I wasn't valued. Following the director's session, after Aaron's required suspension and my father's quiet shock, I gathered my belongings, not office items, but the inner hope for recognition. I stopped seeking validation. In the beginning of Z Logistics Consulting, I worked from my home. Single table, single computer, single customer, that sufficed. Truly, it was enough. But news spreads rapidly in this field, particularly when customers lose funds from poor handling. They recall precisely who maintained smooth operations previously. I didn't promote. I didn't pursue sales. I simply responded to calls. And their words were consistent. It was you, right? You made everything function smoothly back then. They were correct. In 2 months, I secured contracts with 6 prior customers, all who left due to Aaron's innovative rate changes. 3 new referrals that hadn't previously dealt with our family firm, but learned of me via suppliers and networks. A modest storage group under agreement in Chicago requested my guidance on their process overhaul. I shifted from solitary work to directing discussions with purchasing leads, facility supervisors, and international cargo agents, irritated by Aaron's overconfidence and my father's inaction. Meanwhile, at father's firm, the decline was gradual, subtle, mirroring my quiet exit. Initially, finance lost oversight of supplier dues, leading several contractors to decline extensions. Then vital program subscriptions I had arranged personally lapsed without renewal. Regulatory submissions missed due dates. A veteran transport ally withdrew over erratic planning and invoicing. Staff departure reached 40% over 5 months. Ultimately, Dad resumed as temporary CEO, driven by necessity, not ego. Aaron departed quietly via a resignation message filled with justifications and trendy phrases like differing paths and innovative differences. Nobody accepted it. I received no contact from my father for months, not post-vote, not after initial customer losses, not after my subtle industry impact, but one evening a voice message arrived. He sounded changed, no defensiveness, no bravado, merely weary. Zara, I erred in everything regarding you. You contributed far more to this firm than I ever acknowledged. I avoided seeing it because it was simpler not to. Aaron was easier to trust. That was my shortcoming. You owe nothing, but I had to express it. I needed you to know. My reply was straightforward, direct. Thanks for admitting that. Best wishes. Then I restricted the contact, not from spite, not vengeance, but for tranquility. For the initial time ever, I required nothing from him. A year on, Z Logistics now functions across 3 states. We employ 18 permanent staff, maintain 2 mixed location sites, and run an expanding trainee initiative I directly oversee. I appeared in a supply chain women's publication last period. A college lately invited me for a special talk, and we recently finalized a collaboration with an eco-friendly packing company I once pursued persistently when I held no influence. Regarding my father, he transferred majority ownership of the family firm to an investment group. Reports say they overhauled leadership and directors. It retains our surname, yet is transformed beyond recognition. Aaron relocated to Florida. He launched a show on business starting and efficiency tips. I haven't tuned in. I drove past the former headquarters recently. The signage was worn, the lot mostly vacant. It resembled a shadow of what I once strove to excel in. I felt no sorrow or fury, only liberation. Often, the greatest retribution isn't reclaiming. It's creating something beyond their reach. Have you ever created independently after being ignored or undervalued? Was it tougher or more fulfilling? Leave an emoji in replies if you've been the quiet supporter who proved essential. Where are you viewing this? City, nation, emoji. Let's track this tale's reach. Like, reply, subscribe for additional true accounts of departing silently and succeeding peacefully.